Okay, let's dive right in. You ever hear something, maybe a line from a song, and you just think, what was that? It's like you've been given a puzzle, just a string of sounds that don't seem to mean anything. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to take one of those puzzles and crack it wide open.
Okay, so check this out. This is a real lyric from a German rap song, but it's written down exactly how it sounds phonetically. Go on, try saying it. Wir finden die Lastran voll mit Sasterkünplast. It's just nonsense, right? Sasterkünplast? What is that? And that's the point. It's meant to sound like that unless you're in the know. So, what in the world are they talking about?
Well, what it means is that we found a code. And this isn't just about translating a few words. It's about unlocking a whole way of looking at the world.
Right. So the key thing here is that this isn't just random noise. It's basically a language, and it has its own rules. So today, we're going to be the code breakers. We're going to decode the main themes of what's called German hustler rap. And we'll do it by looking at more lyrics from the group that wrote that line, Musterknaben.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll get the basics of German hustler rap. Then we'll dig into the central theme, hustling. We'll look at the ultimate goal, what's with all the bragging, and then wrap up by asking if this is real life or just a fantasy.
All right, first up, let's decode this thing. The group is called Musterknaben, which is pretty funny because it translates to model boys or poster boys, and their style is anything but. Our method is simple. We're taking the raw phonetic sound of the lyrics and figuring out what they actually mean.
Okay, so this is it. The absolute heart of this whole genre. If you want to understand any of it, you have to understand one single concept that everything else is built on, and that is the hustle.
And here's where that phonetic code comes in again. You hear them say hustler, which, sounds a lot like the German word for hater. But it's a misdirection. They're actually saying the English word hustler. And the hustler, well, that's our main character. This is the person who's super ambitious, totally relentless, and aggressively working to get what they want, which is usually money.
And this idea is just all over the lyrics. It's super direct. You've got diligent again, like a hustler. And it's not just about being greedy, right? There's a reason for it. I hustle for the family. And they're not just trying to get by, they're aiming for the top. I hustle like an MVP. So it's all about being the absolute best at the grind.
Okay, so we get it. The what is hustling, but why? What's the point of all this non-stop work? Well, the lyrics are not shy about it. They paint a really, really clear picture of what the final reward looks like. I mean, look at this. This one line tells the whole story. You start on the streets, which means you're trying to escape something difficult, a struggle. And where do you want to go? Into the S-Class. That's a Mercedes S-Class, The ultimate symbol of wealth, status, of making it. It's the classic story, from the very bottom all the way to the very top.
And man, are the lyrics obsessed with the results you can actually hold. Machen wir Kasse. We're making cash. Simple. But the way they describe it is so cool. They're stacking it like Tetris. I love that. It's this perfect image of just constantly adding more and more, fitting it all together. And what do they do with all that cash? They fill up their Louis Vuitton bags. See, the brands aren't just thrown in there for fun. They are the prize. Right. So you've got the hustle, you've got the goal, but what about the attitude? To make it in the world they're describing, you need to act a certain way. You have to speak a language of pure bravado, of total confidence, and honestly, a kind of bragging that gets pretty wild. So, for example, ich bin noch higher als ein Geier. Now, higher sounds like higher in English, and that's probably on purpose. But it's not just about being high. A Geier is a vulture, so he's saying he's above it all, looking down on everyone else like a predator. It's all about pure dominance.
And the language gets really aggressive, really confrontational. You say please, but I shoot until it flies. Whoa. I mean, this paints a picture of someone who just doesn't care about begging or pleading. They're going to do what they're going to do, whatever it takes. It's basically saying there's no room for weakness here. And then you get to the really over-the-top stuff. This kind of hyper-masculine bragging is a signature of the genre. Meine Eier sind so Blei. My balls are like lead. I mean, it's so extreme, it's almost funny, right? But that's the whole point.
It's an exaggerated way of saying you're tough, you're indestructible. You're projecting this image of being an absolute tank, mentally and physically.
Okay, let's pull all these threads together. We've cracked the code on the work ethic, the luxury goals, and that super aggressive persona. We took what sounded like gibberish and found this whole worldview inside it. A pretty extreme one, but a consistent one. So what have we learned?
So here are the 4 main rules of the Musterknaben code. 1. The hustle is everything. Relentless work is the only way. 2. The goal is getting rich to escape a bad situation. 3. You have to have this bragger, super confident attitude. And 4. The language is all about hyperbole, about exaggeration to prove your status. That's pretty much the formula.
And that brings us to the big final question. Is this music just a reflection of reality? Is it just describing a certain world that already exists? Or is it actually creating a fantasy, a kind of blueprint that tells listeners, this is how you can make it? The main takeaway here is that behind all the confusing sounds and weird phrases, there's a very clear, very powerful message. The only real question left is, what does that message do to the people who hear it?